Okay, let's just jump right in. What if you could build an entire interactive world, not in months or years, but like in an instant? Today, we're going to break down a new AI model that promises to do just that. And believe me, it's about to completely change the game for creators and players alike.
Seriously, just think about this for a second. Imagine you're playing a game, walking through a world that doesn't even exist until the moment you lay eyes on it. Every step you take, every corner you turn, the world literally generates itself around you, reacting to your every move. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right?
Well, it's not science fiction anymore. A new model from a company called Overworld is actually turning this wild idea into a reality. It's called Waypoint-1, and it is a massive, massive leap forward in how we think about real-time world generation.
So what makes this such a big deal? What's the secret sauce here? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental breakthrough in interactivity. And to really get why Waypoint 1 is so revolutionary, we first need to look at the tech it's leaving in the dust.
You see, up until now, most of these world models were really just video generators in disguise. They were kind of tweaked to accept some basic commands, but the result was always, well, pretty bad. We're talking slow, laggy experiences with controls that felt totally disconnected and clunky. They just weren't built for real, fluid interaction.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the old models. High latency, that awful delay between your input and what happens on screen. Super simple controls, like just moving or rotating. And the world only updates every few frames. But then you look at Waypoint 1. We're talking zero latency, full mouse and keyboard controls. It generates a new frame for every single input, instantly. It's the difference between watching a movie and actually being in it.
So you're probably wondering, how on earth did they pull this off? Well, the secret is in a completely new training philosophy. It's not just about fancier tech, it's about how the model was taught from day one.
This is the key difference right here. Waypoint 1 wasn't just adapted for games, it was born from them. It learned by watching 10,000 hours of actual gameplay. It didn't just analyze the visuals, it looked at text captions and, this is the most important part, the exact control inputs. Every mouse movement, every single key press.
The training process itself is really cool. It happens in two main stages. First up is what they call diffusion forcing. This is where the model learns to predict and basically clean up future frames based on what it's already seen. You can think of it like an artist learning how to restore a blurry old photograph. Then, in the second stage, self-forcing, it refines that skill. The model just practices generating frames one after another, just like in a real game. This helps it learn from its own mistakes and just gets better and better, cutting down errors over time.
Now, the core piece of tech that makes this real-time magic happen is something called a causal attention mask. To put it simply, this forces the model to only look at the past and the present. It literally cannot see into the future. And that limitation is the whole key. It's what allows the model to generate the very next frame instantly without having to wait and figure out what comes next. But look, having a brilliant model is only half the battle. To actually run this stuff in real time, you need an incredibly powerful engine. And making this tech fast enough to work on our computers at home, that was a huge challenge.
And the power behind Waypoint 1 is a custom-built library they call World Engine. Its entire reason for being is just one thing: high performance and super low latency. It's like the finely tuned race engine that takes the model's brain and gives it lightning-fast reflexes.
And the result of all that optimization? A rock-solid 60 frames per second. I mean, for anyone who plays games, you know that's the gold standard. It's what you need for a smooth, responsive experience. To hit that number with a generative model on consumer hardware is just a massive engineering achievement.
So how did they do it? It's a whole series of smart optimizations that are kind of the secret sauce. They use techniques like feature caching to remember and reuse data instead of constantly recalculating it. And they use stuff like Operation Fusion to bundle tasks together to make them way more efficient. Now, you don't need to be an engineer to get the big picture here. Every single piece of this engine is built for one thing, and one thing only: speed.
Okay, this all sounds absolutely incredible. But what does it actually mean for you, for creators? Let's talk about how this technology goes from being a cool research paper to being a tool that anyone can use to build new realities. This isn't some abstract, far-off idea. This quote here, it's pulled directly from their example code. With a simple text prompt, a game where you herd goats in a beautiful valley, you can generate a playable experience. Just like that. The barrier to creating a world is no longer about complex coding or 3D modeling. It's just your imagination.
And maybe the most exciting part of all this is that Overworld has made the model and the world engine code available to everyone. This isn't some locked-away proprietary tech. It is an open invitation for developers, for artists, for hobbyists everywhere to just start building. This could totally change indie game development, you know? It could let tiny teams or even just one person create these huge, explorable worlds that used to be possible only for giant studios.
So this brings us to one final, really fascinating question. When you have a tool that can turn any description into an interactive reality, the only limit really is your imagination. So what world would you build first? A city floating in the clouds? A glowing alien jungle? A world based on your favorite book? The canvas is totally blank, and for the very first time, the possibilities are actually endless.